Welcome. Thanks everybody for coming. I'd like to share with you a journey that not a lot of people knew about me. So I'll just share it. I've been a student, obviously, since I was 5 years old, like most of you. And like most, I had a very successful elementary career, like really successful. It consisted of Red Rover at recess, readers, theater, and language arts, and a ridiculous amount of Mad Minutes. God, I hate Mad Minutes. I hate them. My junior high years, however, proved to be a lot more complicated and a lot more challenging. Being taller than most, really awkward, very lanky, and completely uncoordinated, I was selected for every single basketball team I did not try out for, just because I was tall. Every basketball team I did not try out for. And anyone that has ever watched me try to participate in any type of organized sport will concur that I'm not athletic, not at all. And in fact, my time in junior high was spent competing in activities in order to feel like I had a sense of belonging. And I always longed for this connection and this belonging, and I would participate in events and in a sense of searching for where I fit into that school. Now, my 3 years in junior high was spent just that, trying to feel accepted and loved and as though I belonged. And to be completely honest, I didn't find that at all. Now, high school for me was spent just trying to make it through the day. My pants, they were too short, my feet were way too big, and the boys were way shorter than I. Let me tell you, social dance, it sucked. Math was even harder. Reader's theater was no longer cool in my eyes. And again, I just really, really wanted to feel accepted. And that's all we ever really want, right? And that's all I really ever wanted. And I spent far too many of my younger years not feeling like I was accepted for who I was. In fact, my junior high and high school years were spent in and out of the principal's office following superficial attempts to feel included. And I stumbled through these years quite unsure of myself, very unsure of my surroundings, and oftentimes, surprising to most, really unsure of my purpose. Now, as a university student, I finally felt like I belonged. I had control over my academic courses. They did not include mathematics. I no longer felt like I was the only giant in the room. The guys, they finally grew, and I thrived. Finally, I was learning to be comfortable in my own skin and confident in my surroundings. Now, as a junior high and high school teacher, I quickly learned the art of surveying a room and finding my younger self in every single class. And I still do this. I see them all. I see the confident, I see the cocky, I see the creative. But do you know what I see the most? I see the uncomfortable. Students, just like I, looking up at me, looking up to me. I was their teacher and had the important role of helping them feel as though they belonged. And the thing is, they did belong, and they do belong. However, like I a few years before, most of them just didn't know it yet. So now, as a school administrator, students look up to me, literally, up to me. Parents, they yearn for insight into their developing children, and teachers, they seek counsel and support. And I feel as though now I have the ability to influence them and to ensure that an environment is created that encourages this acceptance that I wanted and I yearn for. And as an educator and a mother, this is my daily mission. Now, for me, it's important that the students in the school that I serve feel accepted for who they are, how they are, just the way they are. And really, this is the premise of an inclusive environment. And so I'm often thinking about, within my own realm of influence, areas that I can improve. So I was reflecting, and I decided to do just that. I spoke to kids, specifically about the topic of acceptance. So I asked a group of elementary students at the school I serve right now, what thoughts or images come to mind when they hear the word acceptance? And the answers really are not surprising. They talked about love, they talked about kindness, they talked about trust. Some students, or one student in particular, said, to be included in something. Another student, talked about being happy. One student said to me, when I win a trophy, I feel accepted. I feel like I'm part of something bigger. Another student said, when I get invited for a bike ride, or when I get invited to a birthday party, I feel accepted. And so the act of that invitation alone allows this child to feel a sense of acceptance. It makes sense. One student said to me, when I think of acceptance, I think of a handshake and the two hands coming together in a bond. So I then spoke to two students in grade three. And I asked them if there were times when they felt it was difficult to accept other people for who they are. Now, one girl, she spoke up right away. She said, yes, if a handicapped person wants to play, it's harder because they're handicapped. Well, the other student, real quick, came back and said, what does handicap mean? Well, they have problems. Oh, my little brother's handicapped and I play with him all the time. He's autistic. I'm artistic too. That doesn't make me handicapped. She said, no, not artistic, autistic. He has disabilities. He feels things different than us. He doesn't always understand what people are thinking. Now, speaking of artistic, I spoke to a young man in our school who is the most incredible artist I've ever met. He blows me out of the water. And the interesting thing is that not only is he an incredible artist, but he's autistic. So I pulled him aside and I said to him, can you describe to me the emotions that you feel when you are being accepted for who you are? And he looked at me and he took his finger and he tapped on the side of his head. He goes, thinking, thinking, thinking. And he takes his two fingers to the side of his mouth and he lifts it up to form a smile. So then, as he's holding his smile, I said, okay, can you describe the emotions you feel when you are not being accepted for who you are? And he didn't tap the side of his head. He took his two fingers and he turned it into a frown. So I asked him further, was there a time when you have not felt accepted? And he responded to me in his beautiful, rhythmic voice. He said, yes, when I cannot do, referring to a time, obviously, when he was unable to complete a task that someone else could. So then I thought, oh man, I opened up a can of worms. And so I said, do you think it's important for our school to encourage acceptance? And he said to me, yes, because I need to have friends. And my heart broke. So then I said to him, do you have friends at our school? And he smiled. And again, in his beautiful voice, it's like music, I can hear it right now. He said, yes, Tristan has friends. It was beautiful. So then, a couple days later, I was talking to a couple of girls from junior high, and I asked if they could, again, tell me their emotions that they feel when they're not being accepted. And, they spoke of being sad or broken down or left out or blue. One of the girls said to me, I feel like when I'm not accepted for who I am, that everything else is better than me. Another student said, I feel like I need to change myself so people will like me. Now, these are just a couple of short stories from a couple of kids that I spoke with. And the thing is, I speak to kids all the time, casually in the hallway, formally in my office, on the sidelines of that basketball court. I speak to them when I see them at the water fountain or when they come late for school. I speak to them when they leave early from school, and I even speak to them when they're on time. Now, I'm not alone in doing this, because teachers, we do this all the time. And the thing is, when I was in junior high and high school, that's what I needed. I needed a teacher or an administrator. I needed them to look beyond the curriculum, and I needed them to stop and just ask me if I was okay. And when I sat there and I didn't answer because I didn't know how to answer, I needed them to pause, to be patient, and to show persistence. Because the thing is, I was not okay. And I didn't have an overwhelming reason as to why I wasn't. And I'm like so many of our students that we have. I was struggling to make sense of the world. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and I did not feel a sense of belonging. Now, I realize I can't control what happens in the lives of the students that attend the school I serve, but I feel like I have a sense of control of what happens within that school. So my mission as a person, as an educator, as a teacher, as a mother, is to influence everyone else and to ensure that these daily conversations are what's going to make the biggest difference. You see, as teachers, we are, after all, a bunch of humans with a commonality. And that commonality is that we care about kids. So I often have the expression, be the person that you needed as a child. And that's my mission, and that's how I operate on a daily basis. And I will continue to strive and do just that. So my challenge for everyone is to be that person that you needed. And that's the best we can do. Thanks.